Hi, Grace.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
That's good to hear.
Your body language says you're not so good.
I'm 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 good. I'm just lethargic.
Okay. Can you be good and lethargic? Is that right?
I think
Is that
so.
possible? Yeah.
So I think it's not lethargic in the sense of lazy or in the
Mhm.
sense of not productive. It's just like okay, I'm ready to rest for the day.
You're tired.
I also yes. I need to request to change our appointment to Thursday if I could.
Okay. Sure. Let me look at my schedule. Thursday instead. Can we do just like tea at 3 or 4?
We can do tea at 4.
Perfect.
Your office still?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. And I have tea at my office, so don't worry.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see myself carrying around hot water. I can see myself carrying food, but not lugging it around. How are you?
Um, I'm okay. I might not be okay soon because I'm over at my friend's who just lost her dog. Except I think she has a cat. And if that's the case, then I'm going to have an allergy attack soon. So
Oh,
I will soon not be good
okay.
because I'm starting to feel
Cats and you don't get along.
no.
No. All cats or just her specific cat?
Some cats. It
Okay.
depends.
Right.
But I mean, I've been in a car where all of a sudden I'm just like wheezing like crazy, right? I'm like,
Mhm.
does anyone have a cat? Right?
Right.
And people are like, no, we don't, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm still going crazy. And I'm like, someone must have a cat, right? And then someone goes, oh, well, there was a cat in here for like 10 minutes, 2 hours ago, kind of thing. I go, yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Sarah Long Henry.
Hello, how are you?
Fine.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello.
Hi, Grace.
Hi,
How are
Sarah.
you doing?
Good.
Good.
Hi, Teresa Masonette.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Greg, I haven't seen you in ages. How are
I
you doing?
know. I've been like in hiding. Yes.
Hi, Grace. Hi, Sarah.
Hello,
Hi.
hello.
I have been in hiding. Yep.
Have you haven't been ill, have you, Greg?
No, I've been, you know, I was telling Grace I feel a little lethargic today, but no, I feel great. I mean, like I'll go to sleep and get up and I'll wake up at 4 o'clock and I'll be like, let's go. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, well, that's it. Yeah. But no, I'm good. No sickness, no colds, nothing. Yeah. I feel pretty strong. I heard Paul is well, let's confirm because I heard that he's been down with the flu. Paul, please confirm. Were you sick of late? You had the flu?
Yeah, I was sick well, I'm still coughing, but I got sick about a week ago woke up Tuesday morning and been out, and now I'm kind of in for the count, but I'm still coughing. So if I
Yeah.
cough, you'll know why.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay,
A
brother.
lot of clients too have been sick.
Mm-mm. Yep. 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 People catching. Well, I guess the kids are just catching the RSV, and adults are getting the cold or form of the flu, and we're getting information from the county, like the numbers and recommendation to wear masks again. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Why has
Yeah.
everyone else been sick as well, or what's the story?
Not on this end. Mm,
Oh,
There you go. That's what I mean.
yeah. Yeah. Lizzie,
Yes, good evening.
how is the new teacher of the high school half adult people doing? So I call teenagers half adults. How's
We
that coming?
survived. We
I
survived.
survived. That's it. That's it.
Better
That's all.
every day. But yes, it is a challenge.
That's all you want to do is survive. The first
You
semester,
know,
first
one
year.
day at a time, right? That's all we can
The
do.
first year, you just want to survive.
Exactly, my dear. Thank
I remember
you for asking, though.
my first year. I remember going out to the rail and said, "Man, I've been in the Marine Corps and held
Right?
the things, and these little eighth graders and seventh graders are going to kill me." You know, I'm like, how
Oh
hard could
my.
it be? How come? I'm like, oh
Yes.
my God,
Yes.
what is this? I'm like, what did you do? What did you do, buddy?
They definitely test, they test
Yeah,
me every day.
yeah,
My call for service, that's what I have to keep in the back of my mind.
yeah,
I'm serving, this is my call,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's getting better.
All right,
good.
all
It's
right.
getting better. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I had one that they would crawl in the cabinets and hide, and they would do all types of little things.
Oh, they find, yes.
What are
They
you
can be
doing?
pretty sneaky.
What are you doing, buddy? Do that.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah.
yes.
Jump on each other and like they're gonna beat each other up. We're just playing, mister. We're just playing. I'm like, okay.
Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Oh, one little girl said, okay, you need to divide this. Okay, you need to, for this section, you need to divide it. Mister, I don't know how to divide. I'm like, what do you don't know how to
I
divide?
don't know how to do multiplication. How can I
Yeah,
divide?
yeah. And I said, what do you mean? What do you know how to divide? She said, well, they taught that. They taught that. I was absent on the day they taught division. I'm like, no, they didn't teach
oh
division.
my goodness. So Greg, you taught them math when you were a teacher?
Yeah, my sixth grade subjects were math and science, and then I also ran a cadet corps program.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I imagine so. Yes.
yeah,
For them, it's well, there's a population that a part of the student population that just resistant to learning Spanish,
yes,
and I need to keep encouraging them
right.
and telling them that it is to their advantage to add one more language to their repertoire.
Good.
And the fact that this is not an elective anymore, it is a requirement for them to graduate. So
Mhm.
that is the part that is
Yeah,
it is difficult,
right.
but little by little.
Okay. Anybody
Yeah.
seen Paula? Is that Paula on the phone or caller user one? Hi, caller user one. Caller user one, are you able to identify yourself? Caller user one. Anybody heard from Paula? Let me see if I can get her. because we are 6 minutes into the time frame.
I emailed her a little while ago asking for a link to the training site because I can't find it.
Okay, okay. If she doesn't send it to you, I'll send it to you tonight or.
Okay.
let me see. And yeah, and you need to be careful with that because with that site because it's very tricky. Because you think you're on it, but you are not. Right. Let me just call it. Okay, well, we can go ahead and start, and when she arrives, and she could take over for the meeting. So I will share screen, share the agenda. So on behalf of Ms. Paula, I want to welcome everybody to today's meeting, and we will view the, well, I guess let's do the roll call first. All present except for Ms. Paula, correct? Madam Secretary, you see everybody's here? Okay,
Sounds right to me.
all righty, so that was a quick roll call. So the agenda, welcome. Of course, we have our termination to have open meetings. Then welcome to everyone, general public announcements. We have one noted public announcement, but we open up to others. We have the executive committee business, a meeting from the secretary, treasurer, vice president, and then president. Then we have some funding requests, and then committee reports, old business. And then we will take input for the agenda for the governing board. But I will also email you to receive input, and then we will adjourn. And then our next meeting is set for Tuesday, January 17th. So I make a motion that we accept the agenda as presented, and we could do that by show of hands, affirmation. Aye.
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 Okay. Okay. So with that, then let's go to our first order of business. Do we have any general public comments? Yes, Teresa.
Thank you, Greg. The Recreation and Parks Committee will not be having a meeting this month. I'm not sure, someone from the Executive Committee asked for all the committees to notify them. I did notify them, or Laura, Greg, I don't know, one of you guys, but it is still not posted on the UNNC calendar, even though the Planning and Zoning meeting is posted that it's canceled. So I would just like, I understand everybody thinks Planning and Zoning is the most, important committee, but we need to be consistent. And if I'm present the information that's necessary, it should be posted like the other committees. Thank you.
I agree. Okay. Okay. Any other public comment? Okay. All right. Noted, Teresa, your comments. So let's go on to Executive Committee. Ms. Sarah, minutes. Do you want to? Yes, you need to have the ability to share.
Yeah, I can share the screen.
Okay.
Looks like you just disabled it, it says.
I don't think I ever had it enabled, but I
Okay.
am now. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's see here. Okay, so can you see the minutes?
Not yet.
Okay,
And now.
okay, excellent. All right, so last meeting, last month's executive meeting was relatively quick. There are not a lot of minutes, but if you have any changes or adjustments or concerns, please let me know. We have public comments. Executive committee. Funding requests,
So can you slow down a little bit?
committee
please?
report. I'm sorry, yep.
Yeah.
Committee reports.
Hmm.
Old business and
Make a motion, we approve the minutes as presented.
Second,
All right, let's vote. All righty, good deal. Okay. Paul,
you.
Thank you, my friend. Paul, you're up.
yeah, so I guess just general comment. I'm gonna ask you to share the screen. Allow me to share my screen in a moment. I wanted to
Yeah, you can share.
okay, let me make sure.
Everybody has sharing capabilities.
Let me make sure I'm on the right screen here. Let's see. I kind of feel like we're behind on the monthly expenditure report. Like the November one's available, but we only just approved October at the beginning of December. But I think that's just a timing issue. I have Ignited Light and the Butterfly Garden checks that still need to be issued. I'll do that in the next few days. But I know those were approved, so they need to be expense. So they are not reflected here. Can everyone see the dashboard of our funding of our expenses and our budget for the year to date so far? Yeah, everyone can see that. Okay, good. So this doesn't reflect the Ignited Light and the Butterfly Garden expense yet. It does reflect and Zoomwall up to date. And I wanted to point out something. There was some uncertainty about the rollover amount and whether that was in the CCC. I struggle with the acronym, and it's a complete failure on my part, but there's the $6,900 that was unclear whether it was part of the rollover funds of $9,700. And I want to bring everyone's attention to the $50,000 budgeted amount, 50,000 and then some. We've got the annual budget of 32,000, which is given to every neighborhood council, and then adjustments total 18,101. And so the mystery of whether the $6,900 is included in that is kind of answered here over on the budget page. This is where we did our budget allocation. So we had the rollover funds of 9,701. We have adjustments of 8,400. So actually this adjustment amount of 8,400 is comprised of two parts: 6,900 for the CCC, and then there's the differences to Michael Falcone, which is roughly $1,500. I think it is $1,500. So that comprises our adjustments, which is indicating to me that we actually don't have the $6,900 in our 9,700 rollover amount. So that's a good thing for us. I'm still waiting for Leanne, our new funding clerk, to completely confirm this, but just based on what the portal is showing us, I think we're good in terms of some dollars and when it comes time to do our budgeting.
Okay, Paul,
which
can
is
you go
not
back to
bad.
the other screen?
This
Like
one?
the allocation?
Yeah.
So the 9,700 for the rollover and the adjustment, that adds up to the That's
to the
right.
18,101 adjusted number that we see here.
Yes, yes. Okay, and so, so the 84 is the funds that went for the Jefferson Greenbelt project, correct?
Correct. Yeah, if that's the CCC,
Yes.
yes. And then there's Michael Falcone has an amount owed him that is
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
in purgatory at the moment because he hasn't completely complied with what
Right.
the city has asked him. So,
Right, right.
so that's what the 8,400 is
So our
comprised
real
of.
rollover is, as it says here, 9,700.
Correct.
Okay,
So we
Okay.
actually do have those funds available to
Okay.
us
okay,
to work
Okay.
with.
okay. And when you, okay, so can I go back to something you said earlier, the other checks? When you say the checks are still need to be, is that like um submitted in the, is it in the portal, or still waiting for the city to issue the checks, or what?
No, it's not in the portal yet. So it's not reflected in these numbers.
Okay,
And, they're like, I think they're both $600 each. So
Yeah.
that's an additional 1,200 that we don't see here in these numbers.
okay, okay. Okay, and so what we, okay, go ahead, continue, please.
Well, I think that's pretty much really what I wanted to discuss today. And then I think once we have a funding discussion on the election, once there's some clarity there, then I think it makes sense to really focus on doing some kind of a rebudgeting, just so we know what kind of dollars are left for the rest of the year. I mean, I guess I know there's a lump sum of 5,000 that's going to be discussed later this evening.
Right.
But and we have Grace wants to say something maybe.
Yes, Paul, I know you just went quickly over how we came to 50,000, starting with the 32. Can you just walk it through one more time for me? I'm trying to understand how we have 50,000.
Yeah, so the 32,000 budgeted is what every neighborhood council gets. So that was our starting point. There was an amount, from what I understand, of unspent funds from last year, a rollover amount of $9,701 that we were anticipating to roll over. Normally they tell us in August is when it's supposed to happen. And then this year, it's not clear to me why. I don't think anyone quite knows why, but none of the neighborhood councils were informed until just a few weeks ago what the rollover fund was. And so it was confirmed that it is 9,701. And then the adjustment amount, which is comprised of, let me go to the budget,
Both the rollover and
the adjustments of 8,400. So that totals the 18,101 that we see here. And this is just says it just lumps the rollover and the adjustments into just the adjustment category here on the home page, on the front page.
But I think you were also saying that 6,400 is already spoken for in the the 8,400 adjustment.
Yeah, so in this adjustment number, this is what we understood was happening, was that the 6,900 that was to be paid to the CCC, apparently that's been carried over for a couple of years from one fiscal year to the other.
I'm just trying to get to the point that if that 6,900 is already accounted for, that our adjustment is really only 1,500 plus the 9,700. So that instead of it being actually 18,000, we're closer to 11,000?
No.
No, the adjustment, it really is actually more like 8,400. The rollover is 9,700. Those are the two additional, just 1 second, Teresa, I'll get to you, but just the two additional excess dollar buckets we have to add to our 32,000. So that's where we're getting to the 50,000. But the actual additional money we have to work with is the 9,701. So if that makes sense.
So all right, so it's only 97 plus the 32, so that it's only 41,700 that is not accounted for that we can use in this year.
Correct. The 8,400 is accounted for, and
Got it. Okay, so understood. Thank
Okay,
you.
Yeah, go ahead, Teresa.
Thank you. Just to add a little more clarification, the 6,900 we did allocate last year. It's to a foundation because the initial person planting the trees, there was an issue. So, but there is a foundation that LA Conservation Corps has a foundation. So we allocated the money to the foundation, but the city hadn't approved it. So it took a while. The next fiscal year started. So then they said, well, now you have to submit additional documentation to have that money for this fiscal year. So it was already allocated. We just couldn't use it because the city delayed because they wanted some additional information. So
Sure.
like you said,
Okay.
okay. There, yeah, both of those items were already allocated, that we just had to carry them over.
And by the way, Teresa, do you know what the status is of that project? Was it completed? Actually, I never really followed up.
Yes, the trees have been planted, and initially this is with that group Cal Greenworks. It was the 3-year contract. So this was to get some additional watering.
Right. Yeah. They planted the trees at the start when we requested initially. And so really on our part, it kind of looked bad that we didn't pay them or someone. We had questions, we had concerns about paying them specifically, but the work for planting the trees was done some time ago. So that part is good.
So, and they should have received their monies back in October.
Okay. Well, I'm
So
sure they're
based on the
happy.
payment schedule here.
Right.
So,
Okay.
any other questions about expenses
Well-
in our budget?
Well, then my other concerns are with the 9,700, if I'm saying that the digits right. Could you go back to that so I can say the right number? That $9,701.32. We had originally, when we did the budget for the year, we had anticipated using some of that for the anniversary. So we set the budget accordingly. We set aside some money for the election. Also, well, we had to set aside money for election anyway, but we set aside money for that. And so then we need to look at the budget and then decide where we want to put these the rollover funds. Like, do we want to put them in the NPG section, the grant money, because we used up all those funds. We only put $3,000 in that. And if we're supposed to be serving the community, only putting $3,000, in my opinion, only putting $3,000 into money that we would give to the community seems very small for as percentage of our budget. So that's one of the conversations that the exec committee should have, because we need to do a recommendation to the general board, hopefully at our next meeting, so we can have an adjusted budget.
Well, I mean, I think in general, wouldn't we want to maybe evenly divide it between NPG, the election, and I guess community improvement projects, unless there's or maybe there's some other event that is coming up I'm not really aware of that it would be good to use the funds for. Is anyone aware of any other upcoming events other than, oh, Laura's got her hand up. Go ahead, Laura.
Well, the only question I would have is, in May, will there be fire day, the fire department special day? We used to fund that, but COVID kind of got in the way. So that was something we used to like to do. That's all. It would have been, if they're having it in Jefferson Park. I don't think we could set it aside now unless Greg thinks we should.
Does it make sense for there to be a communication to the various subcommittees to inform us whether there's some upcoming larger than usual event that might require additional funds. And then the remaining 6 months.
Well, that was,
I'll go right ahead.
Mr. Treasurer. Well, that was part of the question that we started last month of asking the committees, what have they spent and what do they need for the future? So hopefully they could have used that time to say, well, these are the things, these are the projects that we have upcoming, pending, and also the things that we do need to be aware of are the things that you just mentioned, like the outreach for election, if we want to put additional funding on that, the possibility of the city saying we will meet in public and then having to pay rent for renting space or for
Insurance.
clearing a place, whatever. So things like that. And then any tech things if we go hybrid. So those are just the areas we need to consider, not that we need to make a hard decision. But yes, so yes to asking committees and yes to just listing the possibility of where money needs to be used. Hi, Ms. Paula.
Hey, Lizzie, go ahead.
Hello, I am so sorry. I am busy with my great grandchildren and lost track of time.
Welcome aboard.
Paula. Just wanted to add, we also, I don't think we participated last year, but I believe it's in January, National Night Out. And in the past, we have usually participated in the Jefferson Park one, which involves getting the community together at Leslie Shaw Park and maybe showing a movie and having LAPD officers join us for a visit. And usually we distribute a meal. It's always been pizza. I'm not sure if we will do it this year, but that's something also that, I just remember that was an ongoing yearly activity on our part.
Thanks. Laura?
Sure.
Yeah, I agree with Lizzie that should be on a budget, but it cannot be on this budget because we cannot fund in this fiscal year any event that occurs after July 15th. And that would be August 2nd, August 3rd.
I didn't hear you, Laura.
Yeah, I didn't, you cut out.
Your voice is dipping down.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm working on the dying computer, but we can't fund any event that would occur after July 15. And this event would be in early August. So it can't be on this year's budget, but it can be on the pro forma budget for next year, noting that we'll have a new board on July 1, who would have to vote again on the budget.
What's the date of the event that she's speaking of?
I'm sorry, now I didn't hear you either, but
National Day Out is in August.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's something that could, that request can float up through whichever particular subcommittee is relevant, and then that just becomes part of the general discussion and the pro forma budget for next year.
Next
if we
year.
vote to approve. It's more an administrative issue. Lizzie, go ahead. Unless your hand was just still
No,
up.
my
from
mistake.
before.
I'll lower it. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? I'm going to stop sharing my screen if that's okay with everyone.
Okay.
And I think then that means we should probably place on the agenda for the governing board meeting just to have a discussion on what to do with the rollover funds.
I think a lot will depend on how much money is needed for elections. Lizzie, do you have an idea?
Can we hold that until we have the funding conversation in a little bit?
It's on the agenda. It is on the agenda.
Yeah, okay. All right, then I'd like to move to the next item in the agenda, if that's okay with everyone.
Okay, Ms. Paula, I will pass the gavel back over to you. Ms. Paula?
Here I am, here I am.
Okay, you good?
And so we are at what point in the agenda? Are we at my report?
Yes, ma'am.
Sarah has her hand
Sarah
up.
Hannah.
Yeah, I have a question about that. Did we actually vote on the MER?
We did
We
for
got-
the October MER, but we haven't for
Yeah, I mean tonight.
today. I
Okay.
think we do, don't we do that at the governing?
We don't vote on it here. We have it, we look
Okay.
at it, but we don't vote
All
on
right,
it.
thank you. No worries.
Yes, Madam Vice President, you are
Okay,
attendance training.
Sarah, you can lower
Okay.
your hand.
Let me make sure you can share. Hold on this.
Oh boy, you know what? I sent the things. Can you actually
Yeah,
share
of
for
course.
me?
Sure. I most certainly can.
And oh boy,
I'm going to go to the Vice President. What do you want me to show first?
It's going to be training.
Okay. One training report coming up.
Woo, oh, come on. And attendance, we're still good, looking good with attendance.
Do you want me to show an attendance report or?
I didn't send one.
Okay, just.
So I'm just mentioning
Okay,
because that's under my presentation, we're looking good with attendance.
how does this look? Does it?
Yes, I can
Okay.
see it. What is that on the left? Summary outline.
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
Okay.
She's gonna go see about my medicine real fast and see you.
Okay, doke.
Oh,
She's in my car. She's going to see you.
okay. Sorry about that. A little family interruption. Training. Oh my God, we're looking so good in training. We only had one. Can I move this?
No,
Okay. On down to John Arnold, we had one training that there 12-1, and he took the training on 12-1. So ladies and gentlemen, we are current. Everyone is current. Ah! Wow, that's
Good.
just wonderful. Not chasing around after anybody. Everything that needs to be taken has been taken.
okay.
So I just want to applaud you all. Yes, thank you, Grace. I'm so excited about that.
Okay.
And then the next thing that I had was, the executive handbook. I just wanted to say I don't have anything to share on that.
Okay. There was.
I got something. I'm still waiting to get something.
From me, I owe you.
Yeah, Paul and Grace. If you would please just submit something to me. And the last thing is the board members whose terms end in 2023.
Okay.
And
So-
of our members, there are 11 of us,
Oh my.
me being one. And I wanted to show that report. And
Do I have that, Ms. Paul?
you should. Mhm.
Okay, let me see.
Maybe it starts off with 11 board members or terms ending or something. No?
I don't, well, I have a training report, vacancy, training. I have,
Uh-oh.
I don't think I have that.
Okie dokie. Let me see.
I can go to the
if I
the
have-
portal and look at it that way.
No. Here. I got it right here.
Okay, so you want to, let me give you
Uh,
sharing capability.
Let me, oh Lord, where'd you go?
I don't think
Okay,
it can
there you
share.
are. Let
You can share.
me
You can
diminish
share.
that and let me share that. Uh-oh, host disabled.
Okay.
Okay.
Find it again.
It also
So
says
these are the
recording
vacant,
has paused.
The what?
The recording has paused.
Oh, that's not good. Okay.
no, that's not good. Well, if I got that message, I didn't see it.
Okay. Are you sure
Okay.
you want to start recording to the cloud?
So
I don't, okay.
we have 11 members. Greg and I and Paul and Sarah and Laura and Lizzie are among them. Kareen, Ivy, who is brand new, but she was, coming in during the season. And then we already have a vacant seat that will be term will end in 2023. So of all of us here, I guess the question is, do you plan to continue with the neighborhood council? And so I'll start with you, Greg. Are you re-upping?
I will hold off on announcing my candidacy until I consult with my team.
Okay.
So we can look at our campaign, see what the future
All right.
will hold. Okay.
Greg.
I don't think we should ask people
Let's see,
that question
Carla's not
right
here,
now.
Michael's. Huh?
I don't think we should ask people that question right now.
What'd you say?
I don't think we should ask people that question right now. We should just
All
put
right.
that in front of them and just let them
Okay.
think about it.
That's
If
true.
I may say something, Paula, usually the elections chair will send
Yes.
a personal email, so
Okay.
I can
All
take
right.
care of that. Yes, I
Okay,
just been a
great.
little behind on it, but it is in the
No, I
to-do
understand.
list.
You're finally getting a breather.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's fine. That is fine. And it is personal. And there are things to consider. I will just publicly say I plan to rerun. But yes, that's the best way to do it. By a personal email to each and every person, but these are the people whose terms are coming up. And I got this information because it's included on the training report. So that's
Right.
how I happen to have that. But this just something to consider. There's only 21, 22 of us.
23.
So
23.
half of the board, our terms will be up.
Yes, and everybody on the executive
Next
committee
year.
minus me.
And that's quite an interesting thought.
Mhm.
And that concludes my, huh?
I think Lizzie was either clapping or looked like she was clapping.
For me, Grace is delayed. But that concludes my report. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Okay, and let me get the agenda again.
So we've already had the secretary's report and your report,
Yep.
Greg?
No, I am up next.
Okay.
So what's the first thing on my list?
It is ethical standards and expectations.
Okay. So I will share that document. Okay, so this letter is what, can anyone see this? We
No,
need
cannot
to,
see it.
oh, yeah, of course
Not
not,
yet.
because I'm not sharing yet. I'm just living in the world.
You're just talking about sharing it.
I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, I see it, so I think you see it. Okay, so just a refresher. In light of what has happened with our city council, in light of us having a mindset that all people that serve in public office must conduct themselves with the highest ethical standards in light of the fact that we believe that the place of service is not a place of self-service in light of the fact that we must be open to all people and welcome all people. We've expressed our concerns about the resignations, or we're calling for the resignation of those that have resigned and those that are still holding out. But also we said as a body that we want to go a step further than that. And we want to make a statement and even go beyond making a statement of saying that when people are not living up to that standard, that they should be removed from office. And so this letter, or this content of the letter, is the start of that. So I guess for the sake of, I mean, I want to read the whole thing, but I guess for the sake of the meeting, I will. And that public service is sacred to us, and that holding public office is a time of focusing on the needs of the community, and that public service is a time where power and authority entrusted to an individual is for the good of others and not self, and that a public servant is required to treat all people with respect and honor, and that public service requires cooperation and not corruption, and that public service requires that public servants to periodically reflect on their moral compass by periodically revisiting the ethical standards set by the City Ethics Commission. Whereas there has been incidents of public service not respecting the diversity of our community, whereas there has been incidents of public servants seeking to amass and retain power at the expense of others, whereas there has been incidents of public servants engaging in backdoor dealing in the violation of the principles of transparency, whereas there has been individuals removed from office due to pending investigation about alleged illegal acts. We, the board of UNC, therefore call on the entire Los Angeles City Council members and other city elected to govern themselves by the highest ethical standard. We therefore call on council members to execute their dealings in an open and transparent manner, following policies and procedures already in place. We further call that all elected officials found in violation of the City Ethical Commission rules that the individual should be removed from office within 30 days of such violations. So this is the gist of our letter. We could send it out again, but it has been out there for us to look at, but we can send it out well, I want Sarah to look at it again and do her wordsmith stuff to it. But this is the letter that we want to send out to make a statement. We could send it out to the city council at large. We could send it out to our fellow neighborhood council. We could send it to our representative, or we can do a CIS, or we can do all the above, to make the statement that we take this work seriously, and we want our people to stop being dirty, basically, and do the work. So that's the gist of our letter. And so we want to present this to the entire governing board at our next meeting, and then present those options of how we could send this out to the city at large. Your thoughts, questions, concerns, discussion? Yes.
I've got 3 simple points.
Yeah.
First one, where it says transparency with an E, it should, I think, be principle of transparency with a Y at the end. And then when you go down to the last segment, we further call that any city elected official found in violation of the city's ethics is a plural word, and the apostrophe should be after S, because it's ethics commission, not ethic commissions. It's ethics apostrophe.
Mm.
Ethics commission, not ethics commissions, right? Ethics commission rules.
There
So
shouldn't
when we-
be an apostrophe either. It's okay. I mean, we'll definitely take care of all that stuff.
Okay, cool. That the individual shall be removed from office within 30 days of such violations. So this is interesting, because who can say that that violation occurs? So let's say I happen to know the ethics commission rules well, and I found that X city elected violated it on December 15th. Who can call it and have them removed?
Mm.
I guess they would call it themselves. It's like self-governing. The city council.
Okay, so self-governance doesn't work. That's why they let themselves do bad things. So,
Mhm.
so we need to specify anybody, like, like a citizen's arrest, a citizen's violation, like, I would like that wording to be so that it gives us, the people, some power, or that the city ethics commission must come to that conclusion, right? Someone needs to do this. So we should decide who that should be.
Mhm.
And your thoughts on that are?
Okay, so if we write such violations as determined by the city ethics commission, the city attorney's office, I don't know,
The people?
right, but 25% of the neighborhood councils, right? If 25% of the neighborhood councils say that this was a violation, I want them out, because the city attorney's office is too slow to move, or the city ethics commission. So now it's actually giving neighborhood council some power.
So you're saying, like, in here, there should be a section.
No,
that-
after within 30 days of such violations, comma, as determined by the city ethics commission, comma, as determined by
Wait a minute.
the city ethics commission,
No apostrophe. Yes.
or
I think it does.
city
have-
ethics commission, or we don't need ethics, or city attorney's office,
Or
a majority of the city council members. Or 50% of the neighborhood councils that are, or a majority of the neighborhood councils that are currently in good standing.
That's good.
Majority of the neighborhood councils that are in good standing. Okay,
any other thoughts? Ms. Paul, your hand is up.
Oh, yes, I raised my hand. Oh, well, two things. Number one, this is awesome. This is really good. And I think it's wanted by and observe, but stand up. And then the second thing is the gentleman that, had the problem and brought and lady that brought this to light. How was that uncovered? I don't recall.
A tape, they got a,
Oh, that's right.
yes,
A tape discussion
right.
that who heard and
Well,
turned it in.
it was recorded and it just was put out in the public.
Okay, okay,
And there's a public
okay.
outcry against on them holding office.
Okay, okay. All right, that's right, that's right. Thank you for reminding me of that because, you know, that's not included in any
Well,
of these, but hey, that's always a possibility. We don't have to state everything. If you get caught, you get caught.
yeah, it is mentioned that people were, well, got caught doing stuff. So, not specifically, but it's mentioned. Okay, so with this, if that's, yes, yeah, I think that's, Laura, go ahead.
I just have a question. I switched computers, so I hope now you can hear me. Does the city's ethics commission have ethics rules? I know that sounds like a stupid question, but does it actually have a list of rules? And if it does, whenever this is presented to the board, I think we should have that documented as well, so we know what we're really looking at. And I will just remind those who have lived here a long time and been on and off engaged in our UNNC efforts that, well, this was so many years ago, but a member of the Ethics Commission actually did some anti-Semitic stuff at a UNNC session. So, you know, Ethics Commission is not a perfect thing either because it's still political appointees. So, you know, I don't know what we would do in lieu of that, but as long as they really have rules, we should see what they are.
Well, remember when we were taking our exams, not exams, but our own ethics and financial standards? Those are rules of the city. And
So
the
those
same
are rules of the state of California, fair practice.
Okay, well, the city abides by most of those and probably more. So I will put it upon myself to find you the city ethics commission violations.
Right. So, because maybe it's not their rules, but it's the rules you're referring to.
Right.
Which may not be their rules.
Right. It might be the state rules.
Right. Or some other entity's rules.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
I will look for that later tonight.
Okay. So if no other thoughts on this, so let me just recap what we're doing. We're we're sending this to Madam Secretary, for Madam Secretary to work her magic on it. Then we'll present it to the governing board at our next meeting. And then also at the governing board, we'll talk about how we should push this out, you know, sending it to Council District 10, sending it to the entire city council, doing a CIS, and or sending it to all of our neighborhood councils for them to either sign off on it or to create a letter of their own. And my recommendation that will be that we will do all of the above. So just to get it out there, because we don't know which way it's going to take effect or have what effect it will have. So that's what we'll put out. Guys, does it sound good for everybody?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. So I'll stop sharing that. So that's
Hey,
what was.
Greg,
Yes,
feel
ma'am.
free to, just since that's a Google Doc in Google Doc form, feel
Yeah.
free to just add me as an editor so I
Okay,
can just make
perfect.
changes in the document. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's the way I like to edit document. I appreciate that. Okay. Madam Vice, what's next on my list?
Our next item was
Legal
me.
placements?
Next item, funding request, marketing, Laura
No,
Myers.
I'm not done. I had two other things on my.
Oh, okay.
But I'm asking you to remind me.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you had
Legislative
ethical standards,
report.
vacancy in region 1, area 1C2.
Yeah, but that's not happening. No, I mean, we're not getting any bites.
Huh?
No one's, we advertised it,
Yeah,
but
something.
yeah. So that's, I mean, I don't have anything to report on that other than we flew it again.
Yeah, Laura. Yeah, because we need to talk about how we want to address
Greg,
this.
there's an
Yeah.
email, Greg, there is an email from Davina in the Gmail.
Okay.
So,
All right, let me look for her then. All right, let me
okay,
see.
so I don't remember her last name off the top of my head. First name is Divina, and I did see, I didn't read it, but I saw an email from her.
Okay, all right, okay, I'll check again. All right, sweet, good. That is good. All right, the last thing I have is the legislative report, and I will show December 9th.
The
And
what report?
the legislative report.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I will show that, and this is something that we all receive,
Yeah.
but I find it useful to look at this because it kind of like summarizes the council file motions. In the past, what the board would do was everyone had a day or a month or a week or whatever the cycle was, where that individual had like watch on the council files. This makes it a little easier for us to see the council motions because one of our duties is to look at what the city is doing and then to look for things that are of interest to our constituents in our neighborhood and then chime in on that. So this legislative report does that. It gives us information in a quick summary motion. And so what I'm encouraging everyone to do is just to look at, even if you don't read the whole thing, you can just see, oh, this one is about cannabis and they're going to make a ruling on that. Then you can go down to the next one about question proposals, RFP, private owned parcel and buildings. So the housing is so. If we just encourage people to look at this, look through it, then we could be mindful of things that might affect our community. So that's basically, and again, this is something that we all receive, and maybe not a detailed read, but it's not that it's very long, but at a minimum scan, like electrical vehicle charging stations. So, so if we just look at that, then we can be aware of those items that's coming up in our community. So that's it. That's it on that. Okay, that concludes my report.
Greg, I'd like to go back for a moment, back to vacancies. Do we have a procedure? I mean, it's one thing to publish it and then sit and wait, but if nobody responds, like this has been a while,
Well,
do we have a procedure that we follow?
Yeah, well, yes, it remains vacant. And we've had years where we had vacant positions. So it's word of mouth, trying to get someone to fill in a position, trying to talk your neighbor into it, advertising it every way that we know how, but then just trying to recruit someone. But if no one signs up for it, that position stays vacant, and that, I mean, it's never good that a position remains vacant, but it's, I mean, other than that, so I'm open for suggestions for how to recruit people, but yeah.
That's what I meant when I said, are there procedures? It was like recruitment procedures, like first posted, if no no takers, then the next thing would be to, what, and then what, and then what kind of.
Yeah, it's not a serial thing. It's like all those things should be done at the same time. Because I mean, if you know someone that would be a good candidate for the board, then we should reach out to them as soon as possible.
Mhm.
You know, we want to try to find people that we know would be good for our board. Okay.
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 All right, thank you. I
Okay.
wondered
All right,
about
but
that.
the one that I'll look at the one email that Laura mentioned and see what we have on that. Also.
Amen. All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
All righty. So now does that conclude your report, you said?
I am done.
Okay. So then the next thing is the funding request for marketing. And I don't know if Laura's going to do that or Lizzie.
Well, it should be a combination of the two of us. So, but is Lizzie with us?
Yeah, Lizzie's here.
No, I see her here, but I mean, is she here? You know, I was in and out myself, so we're just regular folks attending tonight. So, so basically, and Grace and Paul could probably weigh in too, because this is a little complicated. Grace, Paul, and I met with the new city clerk, and then right after that, Lizzie had the elections committee meeting. So this is about planning for events related to the election. So backing up a little bit, we have funded already the outreach and promotions budget for elections, but we did not have the funds, so we did not fund events related to elections. So what the clerk seems to have told us, and she's very much brand new, so it's hard to take 100% guidance, but what she seems to have told us is that we will need initially to approve sort of a batch in one BAC of events, meaning not tonight per se, but by January 5 meeting, and then potentially, because she wasn't sure, go back and approve them individually. I would assume February, as we finesse and fine tune, because we need to submit to the clerk not just funding type requests, but an event request, the events form. So and again, Lizzie, feel free to just interrupt me if there's something I'm saying wrong here. So, so for a technical initial approval, we ask for money, but it's just a round number, which we may not have enough of that money. But to do potentially 5 election-related events, not all of which would be very costly or cost at all. So the election kickoff is just outreach, just basic MailChimp and Facebook stuff. Lizzie will talk a little bit more about that in her section on the agenda, but that starts tomorrow or the next day, frankly, because filing for candidacy begins Friday, December 23rd. So to the end of this week, and goes through all of January, a couple of days into February. So during that period, we don't have events. But right after that, the phase 2 of elections is for people to apply for vote by mail applications. So again, this is a hybrid election. We're having both in person on April 22nd, but also people can apply to vote by mail. So one of the things we did last time, and we want to do more of it this time, would be to have 1 or even 2 sessions of helping people fill out the very complicated, application for vote by mail, and we would turn it in for them. So we've had some board members, I don't want to say complain, but ask very pointed questions about why aren't we doing something in Jefferson Park? Why aren't we doing something in Harvard Heights? I mean, in other words, not just only doing something on the day of election at the Washington Irving Library. So the thought would be to have in person, if we can do this, at the Jefferson Park Library, one of these help you fill out your ballot applications. And another one perhaps at a place called Start LA, which is Alibi Coffee in the parking lot, and they have both a inside room that we could use, or under the patio, a covered patio outside. I have talked to the owner, and that will be okay with them to do that. But do we provide refreshments? I don't know. Yes, we'd have to do insurance and whatever other things but for sure insurance. The other in-person that would have some cost involved would be a candidates meet and greet, an in-person, more casual, not speeches, not platforms, just an in-person meet and greet, possibly South Sea's house, or in, again, the park, the adjacent park with the covered patio, or do that for ballot applications and use Start LA for the in-person meet and greet with Alibi Coffee. So those are three things which, if approved, we don't know which ones were, but we know it wouldn't be the meet and greet at the library. And then the last one, which would be the costly one, would be on the day of election, which happens to be Earth Day, and happens to be the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. Have a bigger event, co-sponsored by the council office, big crossing fingers, on 12th Avenue. That would include both Earth Day kinds of things, and then Dennis with Lesky, surprise, or Grace maybe, would like to also do a mini CERT training. So whatever the title of that event would be, something Earth Day. The subtitle would be something to the effect of sustainability and resiliency, sort of a combination of the two. And the costs on that one, without saying who's paying for them, would be the rentals, the chairs, tables, tents, I would think some porta potties, food, and signage, wayfinding signage saying vote over there, here's this event. But importantly, as the clerk also brought this up, a lot of signage saying no electioneering. So meaning state law is 100 feet from the polling place, but we would want it to be none whatsoever, even within that event. And that's in part based on the list of people that you just announced as to whose terms have expired, may or may not be running again. But it's most of the officers who really want your help on the event, right? You wouldn't be able to help unless you're not running with the polling place, but you could help on the event. So we'd want zero electioneering. We need signs about that, so that even though it'd be more than 100 feet away. So I didn't do a budget for each of these items because I wasn't sure which of these items you would even be contemplating approving. So I did talk to Greg. I mean, we will work up the budget after this meeting, but before January 5. In an ideal world, we would ask the council office to pay for all the rentals. We've already asked the council office if they can do a motion in early January to close the street, assuming this is something approved by the board. We don't want to close the street before the board has voted on that. And food is the other open question. In an ideal world, the council office would also pay for the hot dogs or whatever, but that may not be feasible. So the money is up in the air. I think the meet and greets and the public ballots can be very inexpensive because we would not have rentals and we would have more minor food, just bottled water and little wrapped muffins or something like that. So that's the idea. And Lizzie, please jump in if you don't mind.
Yes, you pretty much mentioned everything that we would like to plan for in the coming months. Just wondering about these things that we are going to ask the city for. When would be our deadline for them to let us know before we
let us know yes or no?
Because then if we need to issue pay out of our pockets. when would we need to? So for
Yeah.
example, for the food, do we have to do it in January? Do we have to ask for the money in January?
Well, we have to ask for the street closure in January. It takes a little while for the city council to do the motion. Greg probably has a better idea of rentals. If he's with us.
Well, no,
How
I'm,
much time in
I'm-
advance do we need to ask no for rentals?
well, 30 to 90 days.
Right. Well, that would be January.
Yeah, so, Lizzie, I don't think that's the way that we should ask if I may. I know we're just doing an overview now because we didn't know the amount of money that would be in the budget. But I think that what we should, with this conversation, we're asking
He can
for
come
the
in, but
executive
I'm in a
board
meeting.
to approve expenditures in general. But what we need before the governing board is the plan for this is what we want to do in January, this is what we want to do in February, this is what we want to do in March. And then cost out the events for that. And then, like if you call, because this is crunch time for election, if you call an election committee meeting, then maybe more people will come and assist with that, and help with the budget and all that stuff. So rather than just saying, for one thing, let's just look at the general concept that was presented. Let's ask the executive board to approve in principle a certain dollar amount, and then for the election committee to develop their plan for the next couple of months, like what events.
Yes,
But
let me just say why I'm asking these questions, because this year it is different. In the past, the elections committee would take care of everything. The
Right.
fact that we are holding a concurrent event on election day changes everything. And the fact that we are planning to ask the city for certain expenses. That is why the timeline of this planning is changing a little bit, because we are kind of counting on the city to pay for food, whereas before we paid for the food, period. So there are certain expenses here that we are asking the city for, and that is different this year. That is why I'm asking, when do we plan? Because if we are going to budget it if we are going to budget already, then the city is going to say, well, you are already planning to spend this money. Why do we have to? So that's why that is why I'm asking these questions.
I understand. And not to, so my response to that is that those are things that we worked out in the committee.
Right.
For this level of meeting, for our meeting, it's just the general concept of what you're asking, because going into the details, responding to that is not what we would do at executive board.
Okay.
And to say, well, that's not correct, or that is correct, or whatever. It's not what we would do here. But
Well, and if I may, I know there's hands raised. The budget is the budget for, I mean, we have to present an overall budget regardless of who's paying for what.
right. Miss Madam Vice President, I mean, I'm not sure whose hand was up next. Miss Paula?
I think Teresa's
Paula,
was up
you're
first.
muted.
Okay,
That's what
I
I'm
think you were
saying,
next, Paul. Go
Teresa.
ahead, Paul. Oh, I don't care.
I'm calling on you, Teresa.
Okay, thank you. I have 2 points and possibly a question. Earlier in the year, when we voted for the elections chair, I personally voted for Lizzie because she is not running. So to see Laura with so much influence in this committee, I happened to watch the YouTube, the live stream, and it was just Laura and Lizzie, and Laura presented most of the, even though Lizzie did declare she was the chairperson, Laura presented most of the ideas. So I'm kind of disappointed that someone who's also running has so much influence in the elections. Also, I'd like to know if Alibi Cafe, if this is the one on Venice, and if so, what area, what region, and who are the current representatives for that area?
That's down the street from here. I mean, it's not like directly in my neighborhood, but it's a couple of blocks over. A block
So
over.
is that your region, Greg?
No, I think it's I don't know if that's
I think it's Harvard Heights, isn't it?
yeah.
It is
yeah,
Harvard Heights.
Yeah. So I
Laura,
think
you're
that's
shaking your
Dennis.
head. Is that your area, Laura?
I think it's
At large, the represented, Harvard Heights would be Dennis, but
Dennis, I think.
are we talking about where are we asking where Sturt LA is, or where the proposal for the Earth Day event is?
Okay, well, no, I was asking about Alibi Cafe.
That's
But if
Harvard
we're going
Heights.
to have
That is Harvard Heights.
a cafe or some kind of meet and greet north, we need to have one south. So maybe someone needs to think about having one in Jefferson Park or on Jefferson Boulevard or some area like that, so that the people who are running in that area also have an opportunity to meet the constituents in that part of town.
Teresa, we are planning to have a meet and greet in Jefferson Park. at the
Okay, she mentioned
library.
Alibi Cafe. I didn't hear another place, sorry.
Yes, because either a meet and greet or a fill out the ballot application. And just to clarify, anybody who is running can be part of the committee. I have been part of the committee, of the elections committee 3 or 4 times already when I was running. So that is that. And the fact that Laura presented now, it's because she was assigned it in the agenda. As simple as that.
There used to be a time when I would every now.
Okay, Paul.
Yeah, so couple points to make, I guess, or maybe even a question as well. So in the budget, it looks like we budgeted $3,500 for the election for this year. And so this request, do I understand correctly, this is just asking an additional $1,500 on top of the $3,500? No, can you explain that?
Well, I did not take a lot of time doing the budget since I wasn't even sure if you guys would approve these multiple events. What we did last year was set aside, I thought it was 3,000, you're saying it was 3,500, but whatever we voted in June. But we also discussed, if you recall, that when we get the rollover, we would give more to elections.
Yeah.
You know, we were pressured last time, meaning in 2021, to spend $10,000, which we said, you guys are nuts, we'd rather feed people, it's COVID, right?
No, that's fine. I was just curious how you were thinking of it.
The expectation on the part of the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment is that we spend enough money that we're actually reaching out properly to our stakeholders. Kind of to Teresa's point, I mean, here we have almost all of our officers, and then myself, planning an election. We need to be sure that the optics are showing that we're really reaching out and not just trying to secure our own seats, right? So we have to do real outreach by social media, and real, in my opinion, in-person things.
Got it. So that's what's motivating the additional
opinion, but that may not be the board's opinion. And the biggest cost is likely to be the individual insurance purchases for each and every event. Again, per what our new city clerk said. So that alone, if we do 5 events and they're $250 a piece for the insurance, that's, we can figure that at $1,250 already without spending a dime on anything else. So,
Okay, that's enough. I don't think I need to hear more. I just wanted to understand better what was motivating the difference between the budgeted number and then the new number, which may not be the final number. So that's cool. The other point I wanted to make was essentially seconding what Greg said, and that when this is presented to the governing board, that it's presented where there are specific events with budgeted dollars for those events, because I think, as I understood the city clerk Liana to say, was although we can approve some general amount, but we should come back and have specific BACs for each event. So I just want to make sure it's all designed to make that process simple.
right. So if all we're willing to do at this point is the general approval with a number that's more clear for the governing board, then in February's board meeting, we would do individualized BACs for the events. None of the events would take place before March.
Okay, that's good. That gives us the 30
time.
to 60 days
Right.
time we need to prepare. Okay.
Greg, you have your hand up?
Okay, yes, Madam Vice President. So my question is, well, first statement, yes, the budget had $3,500. I think we spent or budgeted or approved 1,200 for flyers and stuff at our last November meeting. So we didn't spend all of that money. Again, I'm just looking at the funds that we have. We have from rollover 9,000, let's just say $9,000, okay? From rollover. We, as Paul mentioned in his brief, is some of it will go into election, I'm sure. Some of it, I think all of us agree that some of it should go into NPGs to give to members of our community for different efforts. And then some of we should just kind of hold on to see if there's any, my concern, we should hold on to see if there's any announcements that, okay, now you're going back to public meetings, and here you go. So my question to the committee, the election committee, is what is your ask tonight so that we can put it on for the dollar amount? How much are you asking for?
Well, I would like to ask for tonight, the up to 5,000, but with a caveat that we'll work up a more specific budget long before you actually do your agenda for governing board. So if it turns out that it's 3,200, then that would be what you put on the agenda. I mean, the city clerk and Dunn, neither of them care what we do except for what the number is on the agenda itself. So if you guys like all 5 ideas, all 5, and then we'll work up budget and in the next few days and get that to Paul and Greg, just see if that's going to work. So it might be less, but if you vote for less.
So then can we just, so where do we go from here, guys?
I move that we.
Go ahead, Paul. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I move that we accept the request as presented in the agenda, that we, up to 5,000 to be further delineated or highlighted when it's presented to the governing board for specific amounts, but up to the 5,000 requested. In somewhat flowerier language than what I just said.
That's flower. I like those flowers. It's good enough.
Yes, those flowers were good. Okay, so then this is the motion. I second. And now, okay, Sarah, is that a question or is that a vote?
That's the vote.
Okay, so now we vote. Executive committee. Show of hands. Since it's just 5 of us. Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Lizzie. So we will move that onto the governing board agenda as stated. Next are our committee reports. So now are we done, Lizzie? Because you're the first one, elections, voting. And then the next thing is you also, Lizzie, outreach.
Yes, so I have a couple of things with elections, and then I can also jump in straight into outreach. So let me share the screen. Oh, I am not
Does
allowed.
she have, yeah,
Not
screen
allowed
share?
yet.
I am not allowed yet.
Not allowed. You don't have the
That's fine.
power. You don't have the power
Post
yet.
disable.
Let's give you the power.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You have the power. You have the power.
Okay. So we have this timeline that, okay, here. Is it here? So as you can see, December the 23rd is when, which is this Friday, is when the candidate filing period begins. Therefore, we need to come up with our first of several social media posts by, I don't know, Thursday or even tomorrow. And then that would be, and I'm sorry, I have this thing that is not helping. Okay, but it was blocking my view. So between December the 23rd and February the 6th, that would be the candidate filing period, which will be done mostly on social media. Then once the list of candidates is released on February 21st, that is when we would start more aggressively sharing, going to businesses, asking, printing our materials to distribute, postcards and posters and whatnot, printing banners. So we got the list of candidates, and that is also the same day when the application period begins for vote by mail requests. After that, there is a series of deadlines in April. So April the 3rd is when the application period ends of voting by mail. So to request a ballot. So in between these weeks, we should have already hosted all these different meet and greet, the candidate forum, a campaign to help folks fill out their ballots, etc. And then April the 10th is when the deadline for actually mailing, mailing ballots ends. And finally, election day. And there are other technical dates after April the 22nd, but that's basically the dates we are looking at. So just as a reminder, let's see, what else did I want to share? Oh, yes. So we asked the communications committee to help us with an asset, a graphic image for the campaign. Unfortunately, they have not been able to, I have not heard back from them. So we had this, can you see this one? The photo collage?
No, you went back to the timeline.
Okay, so
You,
you're
you showed something, but I have a question about the timeline.
Yes.
Lizzie. So, I mean, there's a lot of dates and I'm not going to remember all of them. So I guess the main date is the date that people can start filing or saying they self-nominate for position. So I would like to highlight that. And then I would like to highlight the last date for the candidate filing period ends. So those are the dates. Those are the dates that I'm particularly concerned about. This is when the window opens and this is when
Right.
the window closes.
So
So
let me share once again. All right.
No,
So
you-
yes, the ones that I mentioned, those are the highlights that I would like to share with you. So December the 23rd, which is this Friday, that's when we tell folks, hey, run as a candidate. February the 6th
right.
is when we tell, okay, folks, this is it.
Okay.
You
So
have to run by February the 6th. You
okay.
have to file.
So with those dates, and then you were talking about the next phase of the advertisement of that and
Mhm.
the price of that. And so those are two dates, and then the next part is
Okay, then the
Yeah.
next crucial date, important date, is February the 21st, which is right here, where the list of candidates is released. The ones that were certified by the city. So the city went ahead, gave them the go-ahead. That is another important deadline, February the 21st. That is also the same date when stakeholders, neighbors, residents may begin to ask for a vote by mail application to receive a ballot.
okay. All right, thank you.
So there's another date, which is March 18th. That is when the city supposedly will start sending the ballots.
Mm.
Right.
April the 3rd is when this application period ends. So that is the last day to be able to request a ballot, April the 3rd. April the 10th is so 12 days before election day, that is the deadline to mail your ballots, meaning put it in the mailbox, in the USPS mailbox, because this year, as of now, they have not opened that option to use the county drop-off
Dropbox.
boxes.
Yeah,
We
Lizzie, I'm
cannot-
gonna jump in. That deadline that they're showing there of April 10 is the internal deadline of the clerk to send ballots to voters, not the deadline for voters to send their ballots in.
Okay. We don't have then, because I don't see.
Right, well, there's something, where to go, right? The
I-
deadline for the city clerk to receive the postmarked ballots, would that be postmarked by election day, is May 2nd. Near the bottom,
Oh, okay, I see.
right,
Okay, so that is a different,
right.
okay, but that is
But the
out
last day
of our control.
yes,
We cannot control that part, but up to April the 22nd, that's what our,
Lizzie, you have hands up.
yes. Okay, I'll stop the share and, okay, yes, Paul.
I'm just curious, who is like managing or running this election?
Right.
Is it the county, the register of voters, or is
It's the
it
city clerk,
the
the city clerk along with Don, but Don
Along with
is
who?
more dedicated to I guess the outreach part, the overarching outreach.
Oh, Dunn
The
and
election
the
cycle.
city clerk.
The city clerk is managing the more day-to-day businesses,
Okay.
arranging for a polling location and that sort of thing, receiving the applications, processing the election, tallying
Okay.
the votes and
Thank
all.
you.
And I believe, Greg, you had a
No,
question?
I just wanted to highlight this. There was a lot of dates.
Yes.
And then you were showing another form, which I think highlighted these pertinent dates. So that's like good. Let's move on with it because
Okay, so moving on, I was saying about the photo collage. Can you see it?
yes,
Yes.
good.
All right. So this is the photo collage that Laura came up with. I mean, it was originally, I'm going to say my vision, that I didn't want to use again the silhouettes as we did the last time. I felt that it didn't reflect, it was hard to reflect our diversity there. So I wanted to highlight, to display actual images of our residents, stakeholders, and so on, going about their daily lives. We use some of these for the last campaign. So we are using a combination of Josh's pictures from the last time, which he was hired by the UNNC, plus taking our own pictures in the future. So this is just a mock-up, a draft of what we are envisioning for this series of campaign and social media posts, and maybe even printing in the posters and postcards. Hopefully later on, I don't know, the communications committee might come up with something more solid, more visually, graphic. But for now, I think this is, given that we are 2 days away from candidate filing period opening. So this is what we would like to share on social media, plus of course text, run as a candidate and giving more information to potential interested parties. So this is something, and also, I don't know if you have any questions.
Social media, blogs, feeds, webpage, right? Instagram, all our social media. That would be the thing we would send out. We're not sending out postcards to people.
No, we are not mailing. We are printing postcards, but we are going to place them on public spaces. The library, I already have arrangements with our 2 local libraries, and we need to go into businesses and asking them to display them. Posters, postcards. That's what we've done all along.
And those postcards, are they done yet?
No, because that would be for the next phase, not for candidate recruiting.
I don't understand.
That would be for when we need to get out the vote.
Okay.
Laura.
Yes, thank you. So just so everyone knows, the idea is this a collage, but we have a lot more photos. So we're gonna alter, there's gonna be the through line would be that really beautiful thing that Raheem shared at the governing board, where it's the orange lettering on the blue, that's UNNC and lift every voice. That's gonna be in every one that goes forward. But we will use some different photos, some of the same repeated and some different, because we actually now have a lot of good photos. And it's the MailChimp e-blast, the first one has to be by Friday morning, maybe Thursday, but by Friday morning, because that's the day candidate filing begins. Lizzie and I both talked to Anne at the website, and they're able to, they saved last time around, but the verbiage is a little different. And obviously this imaging is a little different. So they're going to be able to launch it sometime over the weekend or by Boxing Day. So the first e-blast will say, look for the website portal in a few days, or maybe we'll have a date certain, but that'll be the first email. Then I think we'll probably be quiet for the period of time between Christmas and New Year's. Then right after New Year's, essentially do another e-blast. And both these e-blasts are be a candidate, join the board. Lizzie has to still write it, more specifically, but that's what those e-blasts are about. And we'll probably do 1 or 2 more through the month of January, right? And then February 4th, right before it's here, it's your deadline. You have to file by the 6th. So the imaging, it'll be all the same, but always different, because we'll use some different images to make sure we're showing all the diversity. I don't know how Lizzie plans to handle that for Facebook, but I am willing to keep subbing in the collage. But we are awaiting help for the posters from Communications Committee.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you. Is there
So-
anything we need to do to assist you in getting a hold of the Communications Committee? This time is flying by.
Yeah.
Yes, I sent an email and I texted both Rahim and Gabby. Unfortunately, I have not heard back from them.
All right.
And we did go to the Communications Committee meeting 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us are very incredibly busy.
Mm.
And I know that Rahim and Gabby, I talked to Gabby face to face. She came to the composting workshop, and she's just so busy. So she's trying to get on this, but we're going to have to move forward, at least with this first round, just by with this collage. But we're hoping they can get on board and help with everything else.
Yes, I'm really hoping it. And Paula, thank you for your offer, because before with helping out with getting the word out when we are for outreach. So thank you for that. And I'm also thinking of maybe reaching out to other board members. So whoever wants to pitch in, if you have a neighborhood meeting, please let us know. If one of us can attend, I will be, more than happy to. If I cannot attend, then maybe Laura or Paula can speak on our behalf, and any of you, really. Whichever meeting you're attending, if you are shopping, maybe if you find someone who might sound like someone who cares, by all means, yes, we do need, because
All right.
I mean, just this seat that is vacant, it's been vacant for a while now. Now we need to fill out many more seats. So everybody, the whole board needs to,
Okay.
step up.
Yeah.
Okay? So if there are no more
All
questions.
righty. Thank you, Lizzie.
I would like to now share something about outreach. which
Okay.
is, a very I believe it's a very successful campaign that we have started. It's still in progress, still going on. So let me see, hopefully we can see it. This is not it.
Oh,
I know,
busy.
very busy. That's my desk.
That was my response.
Full of all the
Oh,
files. I think this is it. Okay, so I wanted to share this idea that I had between, ideally I wanted to complete it right before elections started, the neighborhood council elections started. It's not happening. Everybody's busy. It is in progress and it is fine, but what I wanted to do was take advantage of the fact that we have just celebrated our 20th anniversary. So share 20 facts at 20. So UNNC at 20 using this hashtag. And so we have been sharing about how I reached out to Stevie Stern, who was our first former president. She wrote a short piece about how the UNNC started, how the name came up. Communications committee, Gabby came up with this graphic. You can see it, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So with this very nice graphic. So what I am doing is share a fact, ideally very short, and then complement it with this graphic that is present in every post, and then an additional image or images to complement the fact. So for example, this one was fact number 4, where are we, and the map of the actual UNNC footprint. So what has been really, really nice is that we have solid evidence that this campaign is working. So just to give you an idea, whenever we share about community events, when we see the statistics, we get maybe from 30 to 50 up to 100 impressions. I'm not sure what an impression means, what a post reach means, what an engagement means, but this is something. And then we always have the option to boost the post, so pay Facebook to share it more widely. But that's just to give an example. So for this fact number 4, where are we, which was just very, very basic, we got 162, 132, 9 engagements. And just to give you an example of our latest one, which was written by Laura about the UNSC involvement in helping develop all these low-income housing. Oh no, looks like I lost it. It's not here. Oh, it's here. Okay, so this was fact number 6. I think it's the latest one. And just look at how many impressions, 1,011, and reached to 912. And post engagement. I believe the post engagement is when people actually click and react and do either like or love or hate or whatever. So 160. So we are very happy with the way this campaign is going, raising awareness about the neighborhood, about the UNNC. And we keep going. We are at 6 and we still have 14 more to go. So any ideas that you have, in the back burner, we have talking about the HPOZs, our parks, our libraries. So anything else, some of our committees. So if you have ideas that you would like to talk about, accomplishments, we're welcome. You're welcome to contribute with a post, and we'll share it on social media. And I believe that's all that I have.
Thank you, Ms. Lizzie.
For outreach. Thank you.
Thank you, Lizzie. I really like that idea with the facts. I have to look at that again, though. If something is too busy or it's got too much information, then I don't look at it. But it looks like there's some really good points there.
Yes.
I have to look at that again. Are there any other committee reports that we have for this meeting?
Nope.
All right, seeing none. The next agenda item is old business.
No
No
old
one
business
may
on
be
my end.
aware of anything. Huh?
No old business on my end.
Okay. Agenda items for the next executive committee meeting.
I would say on that, if I may, Madam Vice President, we will recapping things that we have from today. We have budget revisions to present. We have funding requests to present. We have the ethics letter to present.
Now that's for the governing board or we're gonna, for the next executive committee?
For the governing board. So
This is agenda items for the next for our next meeting, the executives. I know we would want to follow up on elections. We would want to,
agenda
always.
says for governing board.
Hmm,
The agenda says agenda items for governing board.
oh,
And so
okay,
we
that's not what I submitted. Okay, and I guess I don't have an update. I have agenda items for next meeting.
Oh, well, then I guess you and I should talk about,
Yeah,
because, yeah. So you and I will talk about what that item should be.
and then we have Laura, you have your hand up?
Yeah, well, assuming we're talking about agenda items for governing board, planning and zoning, or more particularly our transportation subcommittee combined with planning and zoning, will have a community impact statement that Taylor's working on
Okay.
regarding street dedications. It's
Street what?
complicated, but we have a CIS coming forward.
Okay,
Noted. Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Laura. Thank you, everyone. Again, forgive my lateness. I'm telling you, I am off work for the next 2 weeks
Good for
and
you.
I just am beside myself.
It went to your
And I
relaxing
was
body.
looking at
You're relaxing
my
too
day.
much.
I have my, what'd you say? Great.
You were relaxing too much. You couldn't come
Yeah.
out of relax mode.
Well,
today.
and my great 5-year-old and 8-year-old great grandkids are here, and you know, we've been doing stuff today. We just decorated the Christmas tree.
Beautiful.
And so I was just kind of leisurely going about my time
You-
until I thought, I forgot, you know, when you have time off, it's like, oh, what are you doing? It's my great granddaughter trying to come into the picture.
I can see them. Hi.
Don't push
Hi,
that.
sweetie.
Yes, there they are. That is
Hi,
Jaden and
baby.
Oh, cute.
Hi, babies.
Hello.
Hi.
Boy, I guess they couldn't wait to get in, I guess. I
All
didn't
right,
realize they were
you're-
that interested.
You're on YouTube now. You're on YouTube now. You'll be famous.
Oh, that's good. YouTube has seen my babies. So then our next executive meeting will be January the 17th.
Mhm.
And if there are no further comments, going once, going twice, third time, then I call this meeting adjourned at 8:53 p.m. Thank you all for your
Thank you so
time.
much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank
See you
you.
next year.
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Good
Good
night,
night.
everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you so much.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Buenas noches.
Okay.
Buenas noches.